Hi there and welcome back to our World Tour Wednesdays, where today we're in Mongolia, and I'm starting off with a band called SULD. I think I'm pronouncing that right. I have no idea how to speak any Mongolian. SULD are a, from what I gather, heavy rock band who do the Mongolian style throat singing or something to that effect. That's what I've heard. Anyway, we're going to be checking out 4 artists today. And James will be checking out 2 songs by the Who band, who you may be aware are like the most famous thing. They're kind of like the internet viral things come out of Mongolia at the current moment. But SULD are a much less known band from what their YouTube video view numbers seem to suggest. So I'm looking forward to see how this goes from here, and after this we're going to have a bit of a variation. From what I gather, the 2 songs I've got after this, one will be pop and one will be kind of folky, but I don't really know until I see them, so let's see how this goes first of all. SULD, The Journey Home is what this song's called, and I don't really know anything, so I might as well jump in and talk about it afterwards. Here we go. Yes, I just said that. Yeah, we often forget that Mongolia has cities. It's not just all countryside like you see in photos. Oh, here we go. It's kind of like folk metal at the moment, which is never a bad thing. Oh, damn, that's a nice riff. I don't know the lyrics, but I can't help but think this is what emo would sound like if it was performed by people who actually have got intimidating voices. I'm waiting for the hook. Let's see what happens. I did not expect that. No, no. Is that a horse? No. I mean, under normal circumstances it would be a mixture of the voice and the strings sound that separates it from just being another metal song for me, but it has got a fantastic riff as well. So you were saying no to the horse, but they're kind of friends. So the narrative's a little bit weird, but... how are they going to wrap this one up? Oh, it's a nice choice to go really raw on the metal stuff right at the end. All right. Yeah, we got a fair amount to unpack on that one. That was an interesting starter, actually. So, what was that called again? That was SULD. I think it's SULD with the Journey Home. All right, so what are we going to say about that? Well, first things first, like I say, I really like the application of how they use the traditional Mongolian sounds, which seems to be quite normal. I think in most Mongolian music, the traditional sounds are still very present in the sort of modern music, the contemporary music. I'm wondering if that's partly because, obviously, no disrespect to Mongolia, but obviously it's a country that has sort of developed more recently. It's not sort of a country that's been developed for a very long time. That maybe, you know, folk music has been the centre of their entire musical scene until much more recently. You kind of see this with, considering that pop music originated in, you know, sort of Western countries, or what we consider pop music, and rock and roll and that sort of thing. As a result, you tend to see that in a lot of other cultures, especially more Eastern cultures, because there's been a later development of their pop sound or their rock sound or their mainstream contemporary sound, that you tend to get a lot of the traditional sounds are still more present, which actually gives them a lot more character and flavour, whereas Western music, you know, Western popular music has now sort of honed itself down to that lowest common denominator style of pop when you turn on the radio. So it is quite nice to hear those things coming in, and the singer actually, at first I wasn't sure, because the whole throat singing style of singing, it is obviously it's very deep and intense, and it gives that sort of growl and that thickness to the voice, but obviously as a singing style it is actually kind of it's kind of more mellow and quieter. It's got that threatening rock vibe, you know, it's got that grit, but it's lower and quieter than, say, if you've got like the shrieking of AC/DC or Guns N' Roses or something like that. You know, that might not be quite as thick and intensive and deep vocal sound, but that is more energetic because it's louder and screechier and more out of control. So when you're listening to singing like this on this type of music, it adds intensity to the atmosphere, but it doesn't add sort of that real blow your brains out sort of intensity, like sort of kinetic energy that you get from a lot of other styles, well, more Western, well, actually anything other than Mongolian style of singing, because obviously I think that throat singing is about as deep a style of singing as you get. So that is an interesting thing to work with, because it gives one thing and it takes away something else. So the question is, does it work with this style of music? Well, I think it depends on how you execute it as a band, because what they've done here, which is quite nice, so you listen to the sounds of the rest of the instrument. You've got that sort of string sound. I don't know what the name of the Mongolian instrument they're using there is, but that sort of, it kind of looks like a gigantic erhu or something. That instrument adds a higher element to it, adds a brighter element to the sound, something towards the top end, something a little bit more biting. The guitar was really nice as well. The guitar was mixed in a way that it had a lot of life, you know, the sort of way it was EQ'd. It didn't get all muddy and dirgy, even though it was playing kind of a bit of a dirgy metal groove. But the riff was really great, and the whole song felt quite energetic behind what the singer was doing. So it worked in a way that's quite different, and this is one of the things we love about the World Tour Wednesdays, is when you see things done in a different way. They obviously knew how to take that vocal style and mix it into a metal song and make it work, rather than just singing like that over a sort of metal song with no, if you like, technical compromise given there. So the whole arrangement worked out quite well for that. I do still think that because it's settled into a groove for the best part, I mean, you might have noticed I was waiting kind of for a hook to come around, which is obviously that's what happens when you've got a little bit of a set mindset of what you expect this sort of hard rock heavy metal song to have. Actually, when no hook came and you kind of realise the whole thing is kind of like a groove, it's like one big long hook, you know, it settles into a style and keeps that going for the best part, with exception to that break in the middle. I remembered actually the Who band, who I'd heard before, who, like we were saying, they're a really big band in Mongolia, probably the biggest thing in Mongolia at the moment, you know, the sort of viral band from Mongolia. I realised that actually thinking about them, yeah, their songs don't really have hooks either, and this is clearly, well, I would assume this is a Mongolian sort of writing thing, that the songs have more of a jammed sound. You know, you get like a good catchy thing going and you just work on that rather than trying to steer the song in different directions. You know, maybe put a break in, but you stick to that sort of central thesis of what the song is. You give it that core and you run with that. So on that basis, trying to sort of get my Western or Japanese sensibilities around the Mongolian style of writing, I think that they've done a fantastic job of actually taking that sort of thing, that Mongolian sound. So just to cover those points, you know, that sort of, that very throaty, much deeper, less obviously energetic but thicker style of singing, which in itself is less kinetic but is more atmospheric, and also the writing style, which doesn't tend to sort of meander so much as stick to a central idea. And they've mixed that with metal really nicely. I mean, I guess the key thing when you're sticking to a core for your song is getting a really good riff, and it had a really good riff, it had a really good sound straight from the get-go. So yeah, it definitely works at being what it is. I must admit that if I'm going to throw in some of my personal bias, so this is just more my personal opinion, I must admit, although I think they technically dealt with it very well, I don't necessarily think that sort of throat singing style, for me, goes so well with metal. And, you know, I like, when you hear metal, I like it to be quite hyper-kinetic. I mean, as I was saying about stuff like Ningen Isu, the Japanese band, if you've been checking out this channel, you know I've talked about them for a while. They have some really great sort of metal riffs and things like that. But for me, I don't really get to enjoy the song until you get into the crazy bridges where it goes off in crazy directions and everything becomes much more kinetic. So for a song like this, which sticks just in the groove and has a kind of a low growly sort of, you know, engine on tick over sound about it, it's, to me, it never feels like it really accelerates to the point where, you know, you always feel like you're building up to something, you always feel like there's something coming, and it never quite does. The riff is a good reward in itself, and I think putting that at the end, that refrain of using the riff as the refrain at the end of the song, that actually did kind of help to round off the arrangement. But for me, I would say I would definitely recommend this to people. If they were metal fans, I would definitely recommend this to them, probably as much as I'd recommend the Who band. However, for my own personal listening, I'd perhaps say that it's one that I wouldn't so much come back to, because I think for me, you kind of get everything you're going to get from it from like the first 30 seconds, and then from there on, it doesn't feel like it's necessarily going anywhere particularly. So like I said, they do a great job with what they've got, and I think if you are into this kind of thing, then yeah, this is going to be one of those ones. If it clicks with your own sensibilities, the sort of genres and styles that you like, then this is really going to be something I think you'll really enjoy. But I do think it's perhaps a bit of a niche taste, this one. Definitely one for the metalers. I don't think it's going to win over anyone who's not already a metaler. Just my opinion. But anyway, as always, really great to see this, and I think it's, like I say, it's great for World Tour Wednesdays, this, because this is a great example of a band, you know, mixing contemporary sounds with their own national sound, and for that it has definite worthwhile value. It's a definite real one that you should listen to if you're just interested in international music anyway, or metal. So as always, get in the comments, tell me what you think. What do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Obviously, like and subscribe if you want to be that kind of person. If you want to be the kind of person who presses thumbs down, you can. But as always, if you don't agree with me, get in the comments and discuss it with us, because that's what this is all about. Anyway, we've got much more coming from this World Tour Wednesday. Like I said, I've got a couple more songs myself, and those Who band songs that James is covering, they're also going to be going online today. So I think it's 5 Mongolian songs total, covering 4 artists, assuming none of them get removed for copyright reasons. We'll see how that goes. Anyway, for now, from Japan, where we're doing this, thank you so much for joining us, and hopefully you'll be checking out the rest of our Mongolian songs on this World Tour Wednesday. So for now, from Japan, ciao ciao.